Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Tamara. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the show. To all of my new listeners, new episodes drop typically every Thursday. I always talk about my life, my interests, or the ways I'm trying to grow. So come on back through, you feel me? And for all of my day 1, 6, 93, 186, 200, right? Whatever week you came in and you was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep coming back. Man, shout out to y'all. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? This has been, first of all, I know this episode is late as far as like it's late in Thursday, but y'all gotta give me some credit for the fact that I literally just dropped the episode on Sunday late. And look at me on Thursday getting the rotation back rotating. You feel me? It has been a week. Oh my goodness. Listen. Now, I don't know. I am not someone who likes crying at all, right? But when I tell you that I've cried like 6 times this week, I cried 4 times on Friday, I cried twice on Wednesday, and Tuesday and today are the days I've kind of held back. Like, I don't even fully understand the depths of what is going on within me to where there has been so much crying. I do know that there's a lot of, I feel like I don't have control of a lot of things, like even, not having a vehicle. And I mean, I get everywhere I need to go, don't get me wrong, but I'm on other people's schedules and other people's stuff. And so there's that. I'm, still in a state of transition, so not in my own place. And like nothing bad is happening where I'm staying at all, but still, you know what I mean? And so it has just been, and there's like other things that I don't really want to talk about right now yet. I will, I know, at a later point when I'm like further past it, fill y'all in on, not further past it because I don't know that I'll really get past it, but I don't know. At a later point, I will talk to y'all about what other things are going on with me. But it's just a lot, you know what I mean? It has really been a lot. And then not even just adjusting to a new job. So there's that. And adjusting back to the typical like work environment where you have a lot of coworkers and you have a lot of different people that you interact with, but it's different because this is also my church and has been forever. So like it's been such a mindset shift to be at work. Like when I'm there on Sundays, I'm technically at work. Like that is wild to me. And like there's so many people that I'm going to interact, and then like, people from my church, like obviously the people I work with, a lot of them go to the same gym as me, but then people that just go to my church, they go to the same gym as me. So like it's just interesting because also like we have this, I don't know if I talked about it on here, but we have this initiative called Self-Fed 365, which I'm actually going to put in the episode notes the link to. If you would like, if you're somebody who wants to read the Bible, or maybe you do read the Bible and I'm going to put the link to 2 things. If you're somebody who wants to read the Bible, one thing I've talked about on here about is I don't know if I said that right. One thing on here I've talked about before is how I read my Bible every day. And so my church has a reading guide that we go through, and it'll have like the daily reading for each day. So one, I'm going to put the link to the daily reading in the episode notes. But then also we have this new initiative, which is like my first as the marketing director, like project that's like I'm like leading it and whatever. And it's been really cool because it's like my baby, because it's not the only project I'm involved in, but it's the first project that's like mine. You know what I mean? And now, granted, there's no way I could do this on my own, so I don't say it like that, but I'm really the one leading it or whatever. And so it's really interesting because basically what it is there's our reading guide, and then there's different people every day who they will have a section of the reading that they really sticks out to them, and then record like a 3-minute or less video on, hey, today's the daily reading, this is what really stood out to me and why. And then what I'm going to put the link to is two things, so three things. So the daily reading, if you want that, boom. Then also the thing where you can sign up to get the text messages every day. I'm going to put that in the episode notes. And then also the link to our Instagram, because some people, they don't want to get the text messages, but they'll go to the IG or follow it on IG or whatever. So I'm going to put all of those in the episode notes, because I don't even remember why I brought this up. That's so funny. But it's been a really interesting week, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what put me on that train of thought or whatever. But either way, I'm going to put that in the episode notes. So if you want to, get involved with that, because it's really been like, it's cool to see what other people get from it or whatever. But if you're just somebody who you want to read the Bible, like the heart behind the initiative is just like one of the things I love about me being at this church is this is the first church me being at of that really just focuses on the importance of getting your Bible every day. That's why there's a reading guide. I'm not saying there aren't other churches that read their Bibles. I'm not saying there aren't churches that preach from the Bible. I'm not saying any of that at all. What I'm saying though is when I came to this church 10 years ago, that's the first church that I personally ever went to that just had such an emphasis on get in your Bible every day. Here's a reading guide. We are reading this every day. And so it's really interesting because when I first got here, so almost 11 years ago, I'm not going to say I was every day in it like I am now. But what I will say is, being that I've been here 11 years, we've gone through the books of the Bible so many different times. And so I'm noticing now as we go through it, I don't know if it's just, and it's not like I never read my Bible before that also, but I'm just saying like the daily discipline of doing it. And it's really interesting because the more that I'm going through it and like rereading stuff I've read before, and this is where they say like the wisdom or whatever of God is like inexhaustible. Like there's never going to come a point where you're going to be like, oh, I got it all figured out. I could vouch for that because I've read Genesis so many times. I've read the books of, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all the books of the Bible at least once, but probably more for most of them. And well, for all of them, because we've gone through it. And so I've read through the entire Bible so many different times. Now, I don't know exactly how many, and I say that because we don't go through the whole Bible in a year. We did that one year. Y'all listen, that was intense because you were reading a lot in one day. But now we're doing the Bible in 4 years. So like a part of, like, we're still in Matthew and it's February. Like we've been in Matthew since January 1st. So we reading some of Matthew and then one chapter from an Old Testament book or whatever. So we finished Genesis and now we started Exodus or whatever. Okay. So the interesting thing is that as I'm reading it now and I'm reading stuff I've read before, I'm thinking about it differently. And one of the things I've really been thinking about is how, like, especially as we're in Matthew and it's Jesus's life and his ministry and all that, and like some of the stuff that Jesus will say to the disciples, I really wish there was commentary or more insight into what the disciples were thinking when Jesus was saying all this. Because as I read it, sometimes when Jesus is like, oh, yeah, or the disciples are like, the people are hungry, and Jesus is like, well, feed them. Oh, you want us to go buy some stuff? Oh, you have little faith, sir. Okay, let's think about this logically, right? When have they ever seen you perform the miracle of feeding thousands of people with 5 loaves and 2 fish? Like, when did that ever happen before, to where they could know that you did that? Now, maybe it did because in, I'm trying to think of what book it is, because obviously I don't have my Bible in front of me because this was not planned for whatever. But in I think it's John, don't quote me on that at all, because I just told y'all I don't have my Bible in front of me. So in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, in one of them, it says, and Jesus performed so many more miracles, which were like too many to write because there wouldn't be enough pages, blah blah blah. So okay, since it said that, maybe they had seen him do it before. But if they had not, sir, right? Like, and so I just know if I would have been there, and that's probably why I wasn't there. But I bet you the disciples probably had some thoughts too that it's just not written in the Bible, so we'll never know. So it's just really interesting as I read through, and even like in some Bibles, Jesus's words will be in red letters. Never thought anything about it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. But when we were reading Genesis, and I noticed that in the Old Testament, God's words are not in red letters. That I asked one of my friends that, I'm like, well, how come God's letters aren't in, I mean, his words aren't in red letters? And so then I lead a small, well, we call it groups, but for the sake of y'all knowing what it is, I lead a small group. And so I brought that to the small group because it's like I lead it to facilitate it and keep the conversation going, but that don't mean I know everything, you know what I mean? And so it's just really interesting because one of the ladies in the group, actually, she has a lot of, Bible knowledge, and I don't know if she looked it up or whatever, but basically, if you were ever wondering why Jesus's words are in red letter, it's really just an editor choice to signify the fact of the covenant of his blood. So there's not like, it's just a choice that some, editor made. And I'm just like, oh, because I was just like, if it's supposed to be like God and, yeah, anyway, so that's how it be like when I be reading the Bible right now. It's just really interesting. And then this Bible that I have, we as staff got new Bibles for Christmas, which I don't know if you knew this, but Bibles are not cheap. So the last 2 or 3 Bibles that I've been given, which mind you, I only have 2 Bibles now because I lost a lot of my stuff in storage. I don't, yeah, I talked about that on here before. And every now and then I think about it, but for the most part, it is what it is. It's just stuff. There is sentimental stuff that when I think about it, it makes me really sad. And then I just have to move on with life because there's literally nothing that I could do about it. But the last 2 Bibles, because I think I only have 2 Bibles now that I have, were like gifts. So like somebody gotta really love you if they buy you a Bible, just saying, because Bibles are not cheap. But the Bible that I've been in now, it's the Word for Today Bible, and it has a lot of commentary in it. And what I love about the commentary, so Pastor Chuck Smith, it's his commentary, is he's kind of sarcastic. And so it's just, I like it, and it's just been really interesting reading through the Bible this like starting this year. And I don't know if it's just because where I'm at in life, like not I'm still a mom, we know that, but like not having my kids live with me and the longer it hasn't even been 6 months yet, but the longer I go on like this and just kind of living my own life, it's really interesting the things that I have time to think about. And this is why, like, I'm super grateful for the way this transition has gone from me being with them, because I've never lived alone, to whenever I move into my own place, because it's like, it's really been a time of healing. It's really been a time of just figuring out who I am in like a safe environment, and there being like still people around, you know what I'm saying? Like, just man, shout out to the family I live with. I There's just been so much healing that has happened in my heart and mind since being here. Super grateful just for, them letting me stay here. But yeah, it has been a really, really interesting week. There's so much more I want to say. I'm not ready to talk about it. I talk to the Lord about stuff a lot, but I'm not really ready to talk about it on here. But more to come on that. Yeah, it's an interesting, very interesting season right now. It is a time to be alive, as I like to say. I always say that when things are just, I don't understand, or where they don't make sense, or they're just, whatever. So yeah, it is just, yeah, a time to be alive. I'm loving the healing that I'm getting. I'm loving, I will say, I'll say it like this. Um I always look at any love that anyone shows me, I don't care who it is just a different reflection of God's love for me. Like, that's just how I look at it, because it helps me to appreciate the person, right? Because we were not created to do life alone at all. So it's not like, but it in the midst of appreciating the person, it just keeps them as a person, and like make sure I don't like idolize people, or whatever. But man, the way the Lord has been loving me through, yeah, just his love. I've just been experiencing his love in a different way in this season, and it's been really cool, and it's brought about like so much healing, so much healing that I didn't even know I needed. I talk a lot about the importance of being mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy, and I'm very much for real about that, right? But it's really interesting it's just interesting, like, what can let you know you still have more healing to do. Wait, what can yeah, that makes sense. And it's really interesting where sometimes it's people being good to you, and your response to that goodness, that be it internally or externally. Thankfully for me, it's been just a lot of internal reflection and me trying to figure out what is going on in my heart and whatever. But it's just really interesting because, yeah, it's been healthy stuff that has just helped me help bring about healing, because it'll stir stuff in my heart, and some of it's fears and insecurities that are like they shouldn't even be a thing, and so then I have to process that so that I don't mistreat somebody ultimately due to my own woundedness. And so it's been such an interesting season, and I just have really genuinely appreciated the way that the way that the Lord has been showing me a different kind of love in this season. And yeah, yeah, that's all I'll say. Um, it's been just such a season of healing, such a season of, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like lots of healing, lots of freedom too. Freedom to be vulnerable, right? In safe spaces, of course, because you got to be wise with who you are vulnerable with. But it has been, yeah, such a good season. I have appreciated the new kind of schedule where I've been able to get to CrossFit 4 days a week now. So I appreciate that. I'm like seeing myself getting stronger, and cardio isn't as terrible as it was. I could run a little more when they have us doing that. I still feel like burpees are not of God, and it just is what it is. But I have figured out a system to do them. Do I be jumping back? No, I step back. But my step back is getting some pep in its step. You feel me? So I'm getting stronger, and I'm able to just push myself a little harder, keep my pace a little more consistent, and figure out what way I need to, especially when we'll have like some workouts that are like, oh, it's going to be a 25-minute workout. Okay, well, in a 25-minute workout, I can't be trying to hurry up and get reps in because I'm going to then lose my energy. So I'm just even learning the mental strategy that's needed, because man, CrossFit is definitely, you got to be mentally engaged just as much as physically. So it's been a really cool season, and I really appreciate the people that I do life with, because they inspire me or challenge me, or just, it's just been a really helped me to grow, because either also because we're different. And so it's been a really, really interesting season, and I'm just, yeah, that's how this week's been. Lots of crying, but lots of freedom and healing, because, we'll get into the why behind stuff at a later time. But like, nobody did anything wrong. Let me just put that out there. It's not like I'm crying because somebody's doing me wrong. It's literally the quite opposite. And it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot going on in my life and in my heart and in my mind, and it's whatever. But God's love to me, for me, in this season has just been a really beautiful thing. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Yep. As always, make sure that you take care of yourself mentally, take care of yourself emotionally, take care of yourself spiritually. Like I said, I'm going to put the links to the reading guide, the Self-Fed 365 encouragement, if you want to get that via text every day. You could sign up. You're not signing up to be a part of my church or none of that. You just signing up to get some, encouragement every day via the Bible from different people. Some of it is our pastors, and some of it, like I did a video. Actually, I've done 2 so far. Y'all know I ain't nobody's pastor, right? Different people from the church are, and actually some of them don't even go to our church. Some of them are people that our pastors just have really good relationship with, and they might be pastors from a different church or just whatever, you know what I mean? And so, or if you want to follow the account on Instagram, that will be there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love you so much, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for